only thing we have to
Beer.
is
Beer.
itself.
Beer. So many choices.
Oh, we know function beer well without.
Woohoo! Beer! Hello and welcome to another episode of Beer Busters, where we are going to bring you the news and reviews of some wonderful brews. My name is Dan Baker, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host and brewologist,
Steph Hefner,
and our household from entertainer,
Wayne Baker.
And something I'm very excited for today, our official fourth Beer Buster on the day, is coming from Tröegs Brewery, Mr.
Nick Johnson.
Nick, thank you so much for coming out today.
Thanks for having me.
As soon as Steph told me that we were going to have you on, I was really excited. I've had Tröegs many times, and it's got me in some trouble along the way. But I'm excited to have you here.
You can't blame us for that.
No, not at all. It's completely my fault. It's so good that I had to keep going for more.
Yeah, well, I'm happy to be out here with you guys and talk beer and sample some beers.
Yeah, yes, very excited. Well, let's get things on the road, and we will jump into some news. So there's a couple stories that we saw that I felt like passing along today. The first of which I thought was kind of funny. There's some churches around that are trying to entice new members with beer. So now we all know that in church, if you're Christian, you go for the whole blood of
drink this wine, it is my blood.
Exactly,
eat this bread.
right.
Drink this beer, it is my sweat. I don't know.
Apparently, no. They're according to NPR, there's a few churches across the nation that are offering services with beer. Sometimes they even have their services in bars. There's a quote here from Leah Stanfield, who's weekly attendant of something called Church in a Pub in Fort Worth, Texas. She says, "I find the love, I find the support, I find the non-judgmental eyes when I come here, and I find friends that love God and love craft beer," which is kind of cool that they're doing that. And apparently this isn't the only one that does it. Now, this Church in a Pub is on Sunday evenings, and they attract around 30 to 40 people at the I'm probably going to say this wrong because it's in Texas and I've never been there, Zio Carlo Bar.
It is like a whole other country.
Yeah, but it's okay. The stars at night are big and
I've
bright.
been to the Welcome to Texas sign. Does that count?
There you go.
You have been closer to this place than I have.
I lived in Midland, Texas for 3 years of my life.
There
Oh,
we
no
go.
way. Very cool.
Cool. So you are probably the expert on
I
this
was like 2 years old, so
Okay.
not at all.
one. Okay. Let's see here. The attendees of this, they will order pizza and rounds of pitchers while having their church service, including communion. And the bartender there, they told NPR that they'll leave the bar open to the public, and that while some bar goers leave when they realize it's a prayer service happening, others actually stick around. I kind of would stick around just because it's pretty intriguing to see that.
Yeah, it's an interesting way to conduct your church services.
Yeah. There's also a church group from the First Christian Church in Portland, Oregon. They hold a monthly Saturday night event called Beer and Hymns, and there's about 100 people that'll attend Mass there while sipping beer from their plastic cups, it makes a point to say.
Beer with him?
Yes. Yes.
Beer with God?
Capital H.
Yes. Now, the churches say the events are not necessarily permanent, but they're a good way to get people interested in coming to Mass, which actually is kind of cool,
Fair enough,
embracing
yeah.
something so popular as craft beer.
It's good marketing.
Yeah. Now, that being the case, if you were at a bar and saw that there was a church service going on, would you stay?
Depends on what beer they're serving.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I like that answer.
You know what? One of my favorite brew pubs in Pennsylvania is the Church Brew Works in Pittsburgh.
Oh,
and
wow.
it is a brewery, brew pub inside of an old church building.
Oh,
and
that's cool.
they still have the stained glass, and the altar is actually where the brewing equipment is, which as a home brewer, I can appreciate.
That's kind of cool.
Cult
But
of beer,
they have
yes.
great food, and they have some amazing beers there. It's a fun place. I'm sure there's some people though that are probably a little. I mean, if you're highly religious, it might be a little uncomfortable. Be like, oh, this was a church and now it's a brewery, and
Yeah,
it can
but
be
it-
sinful. But
It turns it into kind of an informal thing then.
Yeah.
So instead of going to church every Sunday morning, getting dressed up in your Sunday best and going and listening to some guy, say something that could potentially be boring. No offense to anyone that's religious, but no, if you look at the stereotypical, and I'm going off of The Simpsons like I always do, they always fall asleep in church. I don't want to say that religion is boring. I'm just saying that some people who lead the services don't know how to present things.
well, and I think anyone who is pro-religion would support trying to get people involved in religion.
Because
and-
it's spreading the word. And
Sure.
I'd be interested in seeing if anyone else is going to try this or if any other religions are going to try doing this.
I mean, there's enough places for people that want nothing to do with religion
I
to go
don't-
drink. So
I don't think it would go down so well with Islam because they can't drink alcohol.
Or Mormons.
Yeah. So
What about Scientologists?
I think
I'm
they're.
not sure if they're allowed to drink either.
Are they?
Yeah, I
have
think
no
they
idea.
drink acid-laced Kool-Aid exclusively. but I'm not sure.
I'll call up Tom Cruise, see what he says.
But there's a long history of beer and religion. I mean, so it's not, it's not unheard of.
Right,
you
right.
know?
I mean, monks, after
Monks,
all.
obviously.
Yeah. And
But-
brewing and whatnot.
Yeah. Normally, though, you try to keep it kind of separate because beer could lead to some questionable activities. And now they're embracing it religion, which is kind of cool, It's nice and informal. Everybody gets loosened up a little bit. Everybody can have a healthy debate. And I wonder if they have limits involved.
I'm sure you would have to put some limits on that.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
would
if
think
you're drinking, 8 beers and then arguing about religion, that never goes
That could be
anywhere
bad.
good.
Yeah.
That's like Christmas Eve, right?
Yeah.
And
Oh,
your
yeah,
families
anyway.
get
We'll start
together.
talking politics.
Yeah.
after.
Politics and religion are touchy subjects
Yeah,
in bars.
they should stay out of,
bars
especially
and on
in
the
drunken
internet.
conversations. Yeah,
See, this is why I'm okay reading the story before I've had a drink.
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah. The next story that I saw was kind of cool. It's something that Stone Brewing Company does. And I think we might have even talked about this before with them, or no, maybe it would have been before we started this. Steph, you introduced me to them.
I do talk about Stone a lot.
I mean, they're good. They're worth talking about. But they've revealed their newest iteration of the Enjoy By series, which is Enjoy By 12-13-13 IPA. It's going to ship soon, and it's going to make its way to 13 markets.
Is it going to be in Pennsylvania?
I was going to get to the states later. But
I
you
need to know.
All right. according to the list that was on Beer Pulse, no.
Well, 11, 12, 13 was in
Yeah, they
Pennsylvania.
just
so.
had one out recently, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
The 11, 12, 13 was. I had that one. I had the 7, the one that was in July. I can't remember the date, but I've had 4 of them now, and I've never been disappointed.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I've been disappointed by anything out of Stone that I've had.
True.
Were they the ones that did the Beard? Did I get that right this time?
No, that's
that was
Rhodes.
Rhodes.
You always think
That's
that.
the second time you confuse those two.
Well, the other one was Movember, right? They did the Movember thing.
Yeah, Greg Cook. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Have you seen the picture, by the way?
I haven't.
It was
oh,
tweeted
yeah.
this week.
Yeah, I saw that.
Greg Cook is completely shaven.
shaven.
He looks so young.
Well, according to the brewery, you have in your hands a devastatingly fresh double IPA. While freshness is a key component of many beers, especially big, citrusy, floral IPAs, we've taken it further, a lot further, in this IPA. You see, we specifically brewed it not to last. We've only gone to extensive lengths to ensure that you're getting this beer in your hands within an extraordinarily short window, and we made sure that the Enjoy By date isn't randomly etched into in tiny text somewhere on the label to be overlooked by all, but the most attentive of retailers and consumers. So instead of that, they have named the beer like they have done before. Now, this Enjoy By 12-13-13, was that what it was? There we go. 12-13-13. The states that so far is going to have it distributed are Alabama, California, Colorado, Florida, Idaho, Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, Louisiana, Missouri, Nevada, Ohio, and Oregon. And if you choose to hashtag it on Twitter, the official hashtag they want you to use is hashtag EnjoyBy, followed by hashtag insert your state abbreviation. So hashtag EnjoyBy, hashtag CA, for example.
Right. So the closest it's going to get to Pennsylvania is Ohio.
Correct.
And so it's kind of the other side of the state.
We can
from
wait
us.
for the next turn. I don't see them stopping this anytime soon because it's become so popular. And
It's a really interesting thing to do, too. I think it's a really neat idea.
there's nothing better than a fresh IPA.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you go to Tröegs and you find out that keg was just put on, it was just kegged the week before or that
Right.
week. I mean, there's just something special about a really fresh IPA.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great idea too because there's so many times I've had people say, they've had Nugget Nectar, they've aged it for a year, and that nothing pains me more than hearing it. I'm like, no, drink that beer
right
as fresh
away.
as
Yes.
you possibly
That's
can.
right.
So
Especially hoppy beers, you definitely want to drink right away.
Mhm.
The
I
sooner
mean,
the better.
those hops are the first thing to diminish, and when you're dry hopping and adding in all those floral notes, those things will go away
Yeah.
extremely quick. So.
Yeah.
It's a good point.
Yeah, so not only is it a neat project, it's also, sort of, to say, spreading awareness, to drink these types of beers really fresh.
Speaking of which, how close are we to Nugget Nectar?
I would say probably, probably about 2 or 3 weeks we'll start brewing it, but we're looking to start shipping it probably the first or second week of January.
Okay, that's
Oh,
one
so-
of my favorite beers
Yeah.
ever. I love Nugget Nectar, so I always count down for when it comes out.
Yeah, and this year, I don't want to get on Nugget Nectar tear, but we'll actually have this year, we're going to have all of our production out a lot earlier than we did last year. Instead of doing it in stages, we'll have it basically all out in one shot for
Wow.
the Pennsylvania market.
So once it's out, you got to go get it.
Go get it. As soon as it's out, enjoy it.
Yeah, get it before it's gone.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah. Now, there's one other story that I saw, and we might have actually posted this on our social media. I kind of forget.
We did, yes.
Okay. But last year, there was a brewery in Scotland that created Armageddon, which was the world's strongest beer, which had a 65% ABV. And now, these same brewers have outdone themselves. They've created another one, which is stronger, just a little bit stronger. It's coming in at 67.5 ABV. because apparently a 65% ABV is for pansies, so this article will say. The new beer, which is charmingly dubbed Snake Venom, is more potent than most whiskeys and uses peat smoked malt, which is common to Scotch, beer yeast and champagne yeast, as well as an ice fermentation process, all of which will help provide the brew's extra kick. As for the taste, they don't really know how it's going to be yet. At least the person who wrote this article. Yeah,
Really?
Yeah.
I mean,
Tar? I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah.
I'd be interested to. I've never tried a ridiculously strong beer like that. I'd be interested to try it, but I just don't get the. I mean,
Yeah.
At that point, just drink some whiskey.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
It's a novelty thing.
it really is. It's really just something to say.
Yeah.
Oh, it's 67.5% ABV. And really, I mean,
Yeah.
It's sort of like, it reminds me of the chili peppers. I mean, forever the habanero was the hottest pepper out there, and then
Right.
the ghost chili. And I grow my own ghost chilies. Our listeners know what a spice head I am. And
True.
now you have the scorpion chilies, and now there's one that's even hotter than that. And
it gets to the point where if it melts your tongue, you're not
just not worth
tasting
it.
anything.
if you're gonna cry and your nose is gonna run and it's hot,
Right,
if
right.
it's a strong beer, it's a strong beer,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and you're not gonna be able to drink a lot of it.
Now, if you happen to be overseas, which I don't think any of our listeners are in the UK, but if you happen to
I
find
don't know.
yourself,
If you look at our Facebook statistics, there's a handful from like Brazil and various strange places.
Brazil's not the UK.
I meant
He's saying you never
overseas
know.
in general.
Okay.
You never know.
That's
well,
not really overseas. It's just kind of
That's,
down
okay,
below.
not really. Yeah. Well,
Sorry.
the Panama Canal. I mean, fair enough. All right, let's stop talking.
yeah. The beer is going to cost about £50, or if you go by dollars, or as this article will label it, real money, $81 to get a bottle.
And how big is that bottle? Is
It doesn't say.
I've seen a few of their. Was it them?
They
or was
they
it
weren't the ones
Brewdog
that
bottles?
did the taxidermied.
No, that was Brew Dogs.
That
I
was
think
Brew
I always
Dogs.
get the
Yeah,
two mixed
yeah.
up.
No, that wasn't these guys.
No, it was the ones that did Armageddon. They also made the one that was not quite as strong that we talked about. Oh, I feel. And I saw a bottle that someone was aging it. I was at a bar just in outside of Virginia Beach in Norfolk, actually. The Birch, they have you can rent space in their beer fridge there to age your beers.
Oh, I remember you talking
And there
about
was
this,
somebody from Denmark who was
Right.
aging some of their beers, and they had some of their beers in there.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't the Armageddon, but it was one of the ones that was just below
Just
it that
a
I
little bit
remember
less.
we had talked about,
Right.
and I can't remember the name. And it was just your normal sized.
Now, so
bottle.
did you say it's only available in the UK?
It didn't really say.
Okay. Because I don't know. I mean, can you buy these beers in the United States?
Now, here's the thing. It goes back to, remember the story we did that was #mashtag?
Right.
That was a British beer, which is available for purchase to ship overseas, but once you come to the States, you're at the mercy
of your local.
Right.
Right.
Now,
So-
and since ice beer is considered distilling,
That's
in
what
the
I was going to
States,
say. You can't make these sorts
Does
of beers at
that-
home. You can't homebrew because
Well, and
no,
breweries can't make them either here in the States
well,
because it's
unless you're
considered,
licensed as a
unless
distillery
you're
because
like
it's considered
like
distilling.
Dogfish Head, they're a distillery as
Right.
well. So
Oh, wow.
I assume they would be able to do it.
So I imagine that comes into play with the distribution too, because here in Pennsylvania, you can't buy wine and liquor in the same store that you buy beer.
Right.
So I don't know how that.
So that is a conundrum.
that is.
Yeah.
It's a
conundrum.
beer, but it's a liquor.
Yeah, I would
so you
imagine.
just can't have it in
So you can buy it
Pennsylvania.
everywhere.
Yeah, I would imagine too. They're probably not making a lot of the 65%
Probably
alcohol
not.
beer.
No,
Yeah.
probably. Yeah, that's true.
I would be interested in trying some, but
yeah, I wouldn't mind tasting it. I
yeah,
wouldn't
but
go out of my way
$81
to
a
Just
buy
a,
bottle.
just a little sample though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just to
Yeah,
have
that's
a
all
shot.
you need.
Yeah.
The thimbleful, and then you're out on your ass.
Yeah, that is strong.
Yeah. So that was pretty much all that I saw for news that I wanted to pass along. And now, as we mentioned earlier, Nick is here from Tröegs, and we're very excited to have you here. Now, I don't want to sound like the creepy guy, but we pulled up some facts on you.
Yes,
And I just like to do
we've
it
dug
that
up
way.
We
some
Googled
dirt.
you.
Yeah, it's like talking points. I mean, it's just you can find anything on Google, really. And the one thing that I saw was really, really cool, that you were labeled Sales Rep of the Year by
Yes.
at Philly Beer Week,
It
right?
was Philly Beer Scene, yeah.
Philly Beer
So
Scene,
That was,
yeah.
it was a cool award to get. We were down there for the awards show. We won a bunch of awards that day. And then, surprisingly, I was actually not at the stage or not in the area when they announced my name. So I actually missed my own award.
Wow,
But,
that's fun.
yeah, it was cool to hear.
That
cool
is
to
cool.
see.
That is
so,
cool. How is that? Like, is there criteria for it? Does somebody like submit
I think
you?
my mom bought a lot of raffles.
I think that's what it was. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I just
No,
the
I'm
name
not-
came up and
I'm not really sure. I didn't really ask Matt Falco and those guys at what their criteria was. I think
right.
it was just maybe some of the retailers submitting some information.
Where do you have your award?
It is up on my desk.
Oh, very cool.
Yes.
So what did they give you as the award?
It's like a 22-ounce bottle on a nice little wood placard, so it's a nice little trophy I
That's
can
cool.
display in my office.
Yeah.
it's cool, right next to your Oscar and your Emmy.
Yeah, exactly.
That's really cool. I mean, do you know how many people were up for that, or is it just kind of like they just
I
said,
think it's just kind of an open,
Yeah.
People
Okay.
just list
Yeah.
other sales reps. So,
But I know I've come across a bunch of sales reps, and in the Philly area, there's got to be
there's
hundreds.
tons.
And
So,
yeah, so it's
yeah.
awesome that you were named that.
Yeah, it was definitely exciting to hear, and a little humbling too. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, how long have you been with Tröegs?
I've been with these guys for just about 8.5 years.
Okay, that's
Wow.
cool. And they've been around since what, 96?
96,
I saw. Okay.
yeah.
And I saw that the first keg was sold in 97 to a local restaurant. Was it?
Yeah, it
Okay.
was McGrath's. It's a bar right down the street from our old brewery out in Harrisburg. So,
Right.
Which kind of, before we actually had a tasting room or anything, that was our more or less impromptu tasting
Oh,
room
right,
of the
yeah.
brewery.
right.
Do you know offhand what the first beer was?
I'm going to take a stab. I'm going to say pale ale,
Yeah.
Yeah.
or it could have been
I'm
the
gonna have
brown
to
ale.
Google that.
Yeah, I don't know, to be honest with you. I
Yeah,
should know
I didn't
that.
see
That'd
that.
be interesting.
That was before my time, though. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
I
forgiven.
was a freshman in high school, so.
You weren't even old enough to drink it.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
Not legally.
Yeah.
No.
Now you've been with them since so about 8.5 years now.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that puts you at roughly like half of the lifespan of the
Yeah.
brewery. Then that's
I
pretty
was,
cool.
Yeah, I was the first rep they ever hired for the brewery. So
Oh, cool.
Oh, wow.
I'd been working at a local beer distributor in college, Gabler's Beverage, out in Shippensburg. So I'm not sure if any of you guys went out to Shippensburg, but worked there behind the register for 2.5 years. So I was the beer guy there, slinging kegs of Natty Ice and
Ooh, the good
Oh,
stuff.
wonderful.
and then a lot of the sales reps were coming in, giving out T-shirts. I was that guy behind the counter saying, "Hey, you got any T-shirts in your car?" And bugging them. And then I had a marketing degree, so I kind of took that and was like, maybe I could sell
This
beer.
makes sense.
Yeah.
You just wanted free T-shirts.
Yeah, free T-shirts and able to
eventually-
expense beer for
Yeah,
free.
Yeah.
That's always
No.
a nice thing.
And eventually that like bronzed beer bottle that you can have as the
exactly.
award.
Yeah.
So no, it was cool. Then after I graduated, got a job with a wholesaler out in the area. So I was doing promos at bars, my college bars, which was
Oh boy.
a good time. And
Yeah.
but I was also covering like Gettysburg and kind of out in the middle of nowhere, out in the sticks, Chambersburg area, selling Coors, Rolling Rock, Sam Adams, those beers.
Mm-hmm.
And then just happened to stumble upon a friend who knew Chris and John, was actually talking to them about doing a job in Philadelphia. Kind of right place, right time.
Yeah.
I interviewed with Chris, went in one day, kind of dressed in just jeans and a shirt, and had a beer with him. And he called me up a couple weeks later and offered me a job. So
Yeah. Now, for those who might not be aware, Chris and John, they're the brothers that founded
Correct.
Tröegs.
Yep.
Okay, yeah. Now, I saw on the website for Tröegs, they've been doing it since 96, like we said. John does he still oversee the brewing, or does he just kind of have a hand in it?
No, John kind of does. It's kind of cool how they have it separate. Chris works with us on the marketing and sales side. Anything that kind of works in our world, and John oversees basically all the production.
Okay.
So I mean, he's you'll walk in one day, he's maybe brewing. The other day, he's got a grinder or welding steel or
Right,
doing
right.
something. I don't know.
Yeah.
That guy's running around crazy doing everything. So
Wow.
it's
It's very hands-on.
Very
so that's
hands-on
cool.
with
That's
it, so.
cool. Yeah.
Now I saw on the you had an interview with, I guess, Philly Beer Scene, I guess a little while ago, maybe 2 years ago that it
Right.
was. You mentioned that as far as some non-Tröegs beer that you like, there's you like Omegang, you like Victory, Allagash, Flying Fish, Yards. With Omegang, though, did you see they announced a third Game of Thrones beer?
I did. I just
Yeah.
heard it the other day. So
Yeah, it's the what did we say it was, the Fire and Blood?
Fire
Red,
and Blood.
I think it
Yeah,
was?
yeah. We reported on that in our last episode.
With ancho chilies.
Right,
Yes, that's
right,
right.
with chilies.
That's all I remember.
Fire and Blood and
Yeah.
Dragons.
So are there
Yes.
any new breweries in the Philly area that you're really digging, or anything you're drinking now?
there's so much stuff out there now. It's hard to even keep track of.
Yeah.
It really
everything.
is
But-
crowded,
But
yeah,
it's cool
there's-
though. I mean,
yeah.
it's great to see all these new breweries coming up. The guys at Free Will are making some great beers.
Their pale stout is great.
Mhm.
I just had that. It's very good.
Do you consider it to be healthy competition, or are you just kind of like, we're all just doing our own thing?
It's funny. We get asked that a lot about the competition aspect. It's I think for one, we're all in it together. All of us small guys coming up to get the Bud Miller and Coors tabs.
Yeah.
Right.
And those guys are now fighting us with all their pseudo
Right.
brands that are
Mhm.
out there. But I mean, it's great to see. I mean, it keeps a brewery that we've been around since '96, keeps us on our toes and constantly innovating what we're doing.
Yeah.
Not rest on the laurels of what we've had since we
Right.
started, and there
You
was
just
no one
kinda
else.
Sort of get comfortable and just stay where you're at.
Exactly.
You're gotta be innovating and
So
stuff.
and it's fun. You get to see guys trying things with new styles, new different beers. From the marketing sales aspects, you see kind of new stuff out there on the street. So it's fun to Fun to see it all.
I
grow.
love the scratch beers that they're always coming out with, and it seems like they're coming out with them faster and faster all the time. Now, do you ever get to take those out on the road with you, or are those mainly just at the brewery?
No, we use those really as a key to get people up to the brewery itself. So that's first and foremost, that's why we brew those beers. Secondly, it's for our brewers. Those guys are making Hopback, Perpetual, and Troganator all day, every day. So it lets us experiment. And also, it's really neat to be able to play with different ingredients, different hops that we've never used, different techniques for the brewing process. So with the scratch beers itself, though, it's pretty cool to actually try the different stuff that we have.
And neat when some of them become staples, like Flying Mouflon. Didn't that start as a scratch beer?
Scratch number 4.
Scratch number 4.
So and it's funny. If you would have asked me the first 30 scratch beers, I could rattle off all the information. I think we just came out with 119 or 120 this week.
Wow.
So
wow.
That's awesome.
Now, I know I saw on, I think it was that interview with Philly Beer Scene, that you were able to brew a wedding beer, but that doubled as a scratch beer?
Yes,
also?
it was scratch, I want to say 14 was my wedding beer. So
Okay. Oh, it was your wedding beer?
My wedding beer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Cool. So me and my wife, when we got married, almost 5 years ago, of bliss, I'm not laughing at that. Yeah, she's awesome. She's got to put up with my all my antics. But no, we did I really like the Omegang Hennepin. So kind of talked to those guys, and I love that Saison style. She loves it too. So we wanted to brew a beer and talk to Chris and John. We were able to go in, and it was kind of glorified brewing. We were really just dumping in the hops and taking pictures and letting the brewer at the time help us out. But it was fun. So then we made custom labels and then hand dipped every bottle in wax.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, very
That's
nice.
cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it was fun. I cracked one just recently, and it
Sounds like
does not taste good.
Steph's dream wedding.
Yeah.
If only you could go back and redo yours.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh
Well,
my
you
gosh.
married a guy who doesn't drink beer.
That's
so-
true.
That's true. We've been 8.5 years we've been married.
Oh.
I was still probably drinking I was probably drinking Harpoon UFO back then. That's when I first started getting into craft beer, and I was really into wheat beers. I loved their raspberry
I can
UFO. I
tell
was
you,
into the fruity beers.
I was drinking lager and Jack Daniels.
I drank a lot of Yingling back
that
then.
was
yeah.
all I drank back then.
I was
I
18.
probably still liked Corona back then too.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
your taste, our tastes change. And
Yeah, exactly.
More
know.
sophisticated.
Judging.
Yeah, that's
There's
true.
not judgment here.
We're not
There's no
judging.
judgment here.
We
Well,
just did a
He was serving Natty Ice. At
Natty
one
Ice,
time.
true.
He's
Keystone
still
Light,
light,
that's true,
I
that's
thought I
true.
stepped
That's
up in the
true.
world when I started buying kegs of Keystone Light. Though. I'm like, it's
Well,
like $2 more a
That's
keg.
right.
Rich does still say one of his favorite beers is Schlitz, so
and Limeritas.
Don't- can't forget the Limeritas.
So, yeah. It's all good. I still
yeah.
love them.
Now, I know you mentioned the older location of Tröegs in Harrisburg. You guys are open in Hershey now, right?
Correct.
Okay. And I saw the stats that I saw on that were just kind of staggering. That it's got a 5,000 square foot tasting room,
Correct.
right? And then a barrel room that can accommodate 150 to 200 barrels, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's insane.
And you
That's
guys
awesome.
just I guess it was over the last winter, I guess, they completely redid the tasting room where they put those higher tables in, I guess, to accommodate more people.
Yeah, we did have a huge long table right in the middle of it, and it was just the flow of the room. It kind of ruined how people were just crowding up at the bar. And
Yeah,
then at the
you'd
back
have to
of the
walk
table.
all the way around the table.
So
to get
yeah,
to
so
the
we kind of
bar,
put
yeah.
those in, and we separated the tables and put them into other areas of the brewery. So
Spread people out.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's a cool place.
It
And I
is-
like how you can go up to one window and get your food, or you can go up to the bar. And I like the option of doing a self-guided tour as well. So even if you show up and the tours are done for the day or the tours
Yeah,
are
you can
full,
still
you
just
can
sort of walk around and check it
see
out.
the equipment.
That's
and
cool.
hopefully they're bottling that day. And I have fun going to the
Yeah.
tasting room.
It's a pretty cool spot. I mean, we really designed that the brewery and that kitchen. Well, the kitchen was kind of an afterthought. We weren't going to do that in the beginning, but the brewery itself is really designed to be kind of like an open kitchen feel. This is our brewer's kitchen. You can sit at the bar and watch those guys make the beer. You go on the self-guided tour. You can see the fermentation, the open fermentation of Dreamweaver. We have the cellar. We have the lab. And then you can see the bottling and kegging too. And then the barrel aging room, and then like all good tours, you end up in the gift shop at the end.
It's like Disney World for beer drinkers. In Disney World, everything ends in a gift shop.
But it's a really cool concept where a lot of breweries, all that stuff is behind a wall or behind a glass window.
Right,
You can't
yeah.
see it.
Right.
If you're there, you can hear it, you can taste it. It's loud. It's funny when they're knocking out sometimes, and that those pipes start clanging back and forth. People start looking around. Like, what's breaking?
An earthquake is the building going to collapse.
Now, you guys have award-winning beers. Now, from I saw that this year at the GABF, you guys took them a gold.
Correct.
this year, right? It was Tröegs for the Bot category.
Yes.
And then you also had a bronze, which was the Sunshine Pils in the German-style Pilsner category, right?
Yep.
Oh, cool. And I saw the jacket that you have is from last year, right?
Yes.
So you had 3 last year, was it?
Yes. Last year, we won. We had, jeez, what does it say on my back now? The Dreamweaver, the Sunshine, and the Hotback all won gold medals.
Wow.
And we were awarded mid-sized brewing company of the year too. So it was,
that's
it was
cool.
a really, really cool thing to be a part of.
Wow.
That's cool.
So yeah, it's been a good run out at GABF and also the World Beer Cup with some of our beers. I mean, the Tröegs, which we'll sample a little bit later, but that's definitely our most award-winning beer. That's won multiple gold medals, silvers, bronzes throughout the GABF over the last 8 or 9 years. So.
Wow.
Cool.
And there's kind of, along with you being named the sales rep of the year from Philly Beer Scene, you guys had, 6 awards that I saw in July that you guys got, including yours as the best sales rep.
Yes.
You had the best lager, which was the Sunshine Pils. The best wheat was the Dreamweaver. The best IPA or Pale Ale was Perpetual IPA. The best seasonal was Nugget Nectar, which Steph loves. And then, which I thought was kind of cool, and it took me a second to process what this award was, the Philly Tap Finder for most searches of a local beer, Nugget Nectar. So does that just mean that more people online are searching for where they can find Nugget Nectar?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
On the Philly Tap
Well,
Finder
that's-
app, yeah.
that's- wow. Oh, on the Philly
On
Tap.
phillytapfinder.com. So
Yeah.
it's, people are clicking on it
Yeah.
or looking at what bars have it
Oh,
on
that's
tap.
cool.
Did they say how many? I didn't see it on the sheet that I saw.
No, I didn't
but
see how many hits or
Okay.
exactly it was.
I'd
but-
imagine that's got to be thousands and
a lot.
thousands.
You know how
and
many
thousands.
it was? It was the most.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's all that matters.
Yeah, exactly. I like to get a grasp for how many people are doing that because it wasn't something I really knew about till recently, and I just like to think that I was the only person in the dark for that long.
Oh, that's always my go-to, whether
Really?
it's an app or the website. Yeah, if you're like, I wonder if this beer is out. Where can I find it?
Yeah.
And you just search for it. And yeah, I am one of those people that was searching for Nugget Nectar. So
It's a great website. I mean, those guys have really put together a great user interface, and it's cool to see where, for one, I can click on that and see where all my beers are, but also to see what bars are pouring and, just kind of get a feel on what kind of the market is like sometimes.
That's cool. And like you said, it works from both sides. If you're, looking for a certain beer and want to know where to find it, or, for you, want to see where your beers are at.
Right.
yeah,
That's
you
pretty
can
cool.
search
It
a specific bar. Like if
goes
you know,
both ways. Yeah.
it goes both ways. If you're going into Philly and you have a
ECDC.
favorite beer spot, like I can search like Bainbridge Street Barrel House and see what they have on tap. And so there's lots of search options. It's a cool spot.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Awesome.
Now, I know you talked a little bit earlier about some events that you have coming up. If you want to give a little shout out, let people know what's going on.
All right.
I know you mentioned December 3rd at Teresa's.
Tuesday, yes.
Yes.
So we do a Tasty Tuesday. It's something we've been doing for probably 4 or 5 years, or however they've been open. I can't remember exactly. But Andy, one of my good friends in the industry, he actually one year grabbed some reindeer meat and he cooked it up in a Mad Elf stew. So braised some reindeer
That's awesome.
Mad Elf and called it reindeer stew. And it was a special for 1 year, and then every year since it's been we keep it on as a feature.
Now, I've never tasted reindeer. I imagine it's similar to venison.
Yeah,
Sort of a okay.
kind of gamey like venison.
Right. Interesting.
Tastes like antelope too. You ever had-
I've never had
Yeah,
antelope.
I
I did
can't
have.
say-
I had
I had
buffalo
cantaloupe.
once. I had buffalo a
Cantaloupe.
long time
That's
ago
like something I would
in
say.
Disney World, actually. Yeah.
But I also heard that you have a Christmas sweater party coming too.
Yeah,
That sounds like fun.
Yes.
Yeah, we're gonna be doing that out at the City Tap House,
Very cool.
right in University City on December
14th.
14th.
I wrote it down.
You got your notes. In
I wrote
front
it
of me.
down. But yeah, the ugly sweater Christmas party. That sounds
So
pretty.
we'll feature a bunch of different beers of Tröegs on tap that night, and obviously the Mad Elf will be one of the key beers.
Right,
So,
right.
Mad
yeah.
Elf. It's always a struggle for me to find Mad Elf.
That is a good one. That is a good
Yeah, I
one.
was looking for it on the way here to see if I could sample some out for you guys, but the 2 places I went were out. And,
Yeah.
and I drank the other 6-pack this weekend.
Well, I've had that one before, and I think
Wegmans has a lot of it yet.
Okay.
I was just at Wegmans this week again, and it took all my power not to buy more. But I'm like, no, you don't need any more. But
yeah. The
Yeah,
first
there's a
time
lot
I
of it.
had it, I think you gave me some stuff.
yeah,
and
I buy some every year.
I was upset it had taken me that long to try it. So if anybody has not had that beer, go get it while you can, because you will not regret it. Cool. Well, we want to thank you again for coming out. And sorry we had to go through the rap sheet on that with you, but it's cool.
all
There's
right.
a lot of good
it
info
could
there.
have been a hell of a lot worse.
Yeah.
Jeez.
They run through all your past transgressions.
anyway.
At age 14. you're-
Yeah. I found a police record with somebody with the same name.
Good thing my name is very
I know.
different from no.
Yeah. It's good to have a generic name sometimes.
Yeah.
Nick Johnson, Dan Baker. I mean, Can't imagine there's too many other Wayne Bakers out there or Steph Hefners. So
No, I always get the Hefner. I'm like, it's spelled differently.
Yeah.
Well, what we always like to do after that is just kind of make things a little more fun still. We always like to play a game, and Wayne is the one that does that. So, Wayne, what do we have on tap today?
Well, today, it's welcome to another exciting edition. There it is, my music. Cue the music of Happy Fun Time Games. We pile on the fermentertainment, sprinkle in some beer education, and bake a brew formation cake just for you. And today, we'll be playing a variation on a perennial Happy Fun Time famous game. Something. Favorite. Famous, happy, fun time, famous, favorite game.
One of those things.
As you know, beer has been brewed all over the world for thousands upon thousands of years, and craft beer has been steadily gaining traction for decades as craft breweries sprout up far and wide. Today, we'll be marking the inception of these purveyors of fine brews in Years of Beer's Foundation Edition.
Ooh.
So the way this is going to work is I'm going to mention breweries, and you guys are going to try and guess what year those breweries were founded. These are all craft breweries. They're all relatively local. But to make it a little easier on you, I'm also going to mention some other interesting things that happen to be going on in the world in that same year.
Are we allowed to phone a friend?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how generous I'm feeling when we
Of
get
course,
to that
my
point.
person I would phone, I think, just left. So
Yeah,
of course I
sure.
could just call him.
You could phone him.
I could actually phone
That
him.
is-
You know, I am bad at Years of Beers. I think our listeners know looking back that. Of course, I am the reigning champion. I won last episode.
You
so
did win
I'm
last episode.
little less pressure on
that
me.
That was a shocking victory.
What kind of prizes do you win?
Bragging rights.
Bragging
Right.
rights.
I
Yeah,
thought it was like
bragging
walk out
rights.
here with like a Geo Metro.
No, sorry. You get a new car.
Yeah.
You get a new car. You get a new car.
We can give you Beer Buster stickers.
Yeah, we have stickers.
All right.
Yeah, that works. We can give them to you even if you lose.
That's true, yeah. It'll either be the prize or the consolation prize.
The
Yeah.
prize, the consolation.
That works.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll alternate who goes first. Everybody will guess for each one. So we'll start with Dan on the first one, and this brew
Again.
is what I always start with. I know last episode you suggested mixing it up, and I didn't.
We have to start with you.
All right.
It's just how it goes.
So what year do you think Southern Tier Brewing Company was founded?
I should know this.
This was the year that American Idol began, a new era of manufactured pop stars vetted on reality TV. My Big Fat Greek Wedding hit theaters, and the UN
Okay.
Security Council passed a unanimous resolution calling on the nation of Iraq to disarm or else face serious consequences. And
Gotcha.
we all know how that turned out.
Well.
What year do you think that was?
My Big Fat Greek Wedding. I had it narrowed down to within a 2-year, but I'm pretty sure that was 2002.
2002.
Ooh.
Steph, what year do you think it was?
I'm going to say 2001.
2001. And Nick, what do you think?
$1.
The year
I had to-
$1.
I've always wanted to do that. I've never been on a game show.
So there you go.
Ding, 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 ding.
I'm gonna go 99.
You're going to go 99. Okay, back up a little bit. Actually, Dan is exactly correct.
Yeah.
It was, in fact, 2002. Southern Tier Brewing Company of Lakewood, New York, has grown to produce more than 90,000 barrels of beer annually. The brews are now available in more than 30 states. In 2002, with equipment gained from the purchase of the old Saddleback Brewing Company in Pittsfield, Massachusetts, Southern Tier Brewing Company began production in the Stoneman Business Park just outside of Lakewood, New York. So Dan actually is going to get 2 points for that since he got the year exactly
Oh, good
right.
job,
He
Dan.
was not only the closest, but he got it exactly right.
I feel like they've been around so much longer.
Yeah, well, you
That
know
was
what?
11 years ago.
Yeah, 2002.
Yeah,
was-
Yeah,
Don't make
I
me
feel
feel
like
old.
2002
I know.
was not that long ago, but it was. Yeah,
Are we that old?
we are that old.
Starting to happen.
Yeah, it's
Still in the
yeah. He's the youngest one in the room.
Ah.
All right, so
Moving on.
moving on, and Steph's up first
Before
on
I
this
lose
one,
those points.
and this is Victory Brewing Company. Victory Brewing Company. This year, Tupac Shakur was gunned down this year, and the Unabomber was identified. In lighter news, Third Rock from the Sun debuted on NBC after being rejected by ABC, and Seal's most famous hit, and the only thing anyone remembers from Batman Forever,
Kiss from
Kiss
a Rose.
from a Rose was the song of the year. What year was that Victory Brewing Company
I think
was
I know it.
founded?
94.
That year, 1994, says Steph. Nick, what year do you think that was?
It's 94. I'm gonna go 95.
You're going to go 95, $1. $1.
Yeah, anyway.
Dan, what year do you think it was?
I'm going 96.
You're going 96, and you are exactly correct again. Dan gets 2 points. Yep, in 1996. Victory Brewing Company opened its doors to the public on February 15th, 1996. At what was once a Pepperidge Farm factory became home to a 144-seat restaurant, 70-foot-long bar, and full-scale brewery. In its first year, Victory Brewing Company brewed 1,725 barrels of beer. Since then, Victory has increased the size of the restaurant to 300 seats. The brewery has also expanded, producing 93,196 barrels of beer in 2012.
And next year, their new facility will open.
And they will produce even more barrels of beer. Yes, yes. So, moving right along, and Nick is up to bat first on this one. This is Dogfish Head. The year of the Dogfish was also the year Grateful Dead frontman Jerry Garcia departed for the Great Commune in the Sky. The most forgettable Starfleet captain got lost in space with the premiere of Star Trek Voyager. Forrest Gump won Best Picture, and the epitome of media circuses was born as the trial of O.J. Simpson began. Dogfish Head, what year was that?
Jeez. They're all right around each other.
They are,
very
they
close.
are, yeah, very close. That's true.
I'm going to go 93.
You're going to go 1993. Dan, what year do you think that was?
I would also like to just question why you think Janeway was the most forgettable captain.
Because she was.
I would have said Archer, but okay.
Yeah, it's close, but I'd still say Janeway.
All right.
By a hair.
So if we're going with when Voyager premiered, I got to think about this. I'm going to be upset if I get it wrong. I'm going to go with 96 again.
1996. Okay,
I'm going to say 94 again.
You're going to say 1994.
Yeah.
Nobody had it exactly
It was
right.
97, wasn't it?
It was 1995. So
Five.
actually,
Oh.
Dan and Steph were only off by one, so we'll give them both a point.
Should have
Okay.
taken my last answer then.
Yeah.
The previous
yeah,
one.
Yeah, you don't have any points on the board
No.
yet. No.
You know what? Yeah, because Next Generation ended 94 and Voyager was the year after.
Right,
He's still
right.
stuck on this.
Yeah, I was just thinking of the breweries.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
It's all Star Trek. But Deep Space Nine was before Voyager.
Was
Because
it?
there was a crossover. The first season of Deep Space Nine
Bored.
was the last season of TNG. I'm pretty sure.
Was it?
Yeah,
I knew they were-
Picard was on the first episode of Deep Space
Welcome
Nine.
to
Yeah.
Star Trek Busters.
Sorry.
I knew there was
Dan
a
and I are pretty big
Sorry,
nerds.
yeah.
I apologize.
We'll continue this after the show.
Anyway, so I'm going to ask you a beer question now. Dan, you're up first. This year, what year was Stouts Brewing Company founded?
Is there a Star Trek year involved?
No, Stouts was born the same year that President Reagan spoke the words, "Tear down this wall." Andy Warhol
All right.
shuffled off his mortal
Wait a
coil.
minute.
Fatal Attraction was in theaters, and Bono declared, "I can't live with or without you." The same year Stouts Brewing Company was founded. What year was that?
Okay, Reagan. So I got to think about this. Reagan. 88. No, 88. That's not my answer. 88. Bush 1 came in. So, right?
Don't
He
ask me.
can't help
I'm
you.
not helping you.
Yeah, he was 88 to 92, and then Clinton was 92 to 2000. So it's got to be before 88, which means I will go 87.
You will go 1987. Steph, what
I'll
year
say
do you think?
85.
I'm going to say 1985.
I was actually going to say 1986, but it just works out.
One of us has to be
Yeah.
right.
All right, so you say 1986. Well, Dan is exactly
Oh my
right
God.
again. It was 1987.
Gee, I wonder who's going to win this one.
After meeting Ken Allen, Charlie Papazian, Phil Owens, Carl Strauss, Russell Scherer, Roger Brees, and many others at a brewers conference in Portland, Oregon, the Stouts began to realize their destiny as craft brewers. Originally getting into brewing in order to have some decent American beers at the beer festivals and their restaurant, Stouts Brewing Company was born in 1987.
You know what else happened in 1987 that was awesome?
I was
You were
5 years
born?
old.
I was born.
Yeah, you were born.
Yeah.
That's true. You know, actually, that didn't occur to me. Really? You were born.
Really?
Sorry.
You even said, "Oh, I was born," and we're 5 years
Yeah,
apart.
I
You can be
know,
like, "Oh, if I
you-
was 5, Dan was
He was
born."
born.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. All right, Steph, you're
It's
up
not
next on
always
this
about
one.
you, Dan.
It should be.
What year, Steph? Prism Brewing Company. What year was Prism Brewing Company founded? Michael Jackson and Walter Cronkite and Saturn Cars bought the farm this year.
All right.
Kanye West had a hissy fit snatching the mic from Taylor Swift. Beyonce told us that if we like it, we should have put a ring on it. And swine flu is lurking in the shadows of everyone's nightmares. What year Prism Brewing Company was founded?
2010.
2010, says Steph. Nick, what year do you think
I
that
was
was?
thinking 2010 as well.
You're also going to say 2010? Okay, fair enough. Dan, what year do you think it was?
2009.
2009, and you
Dan-
are
Dan probably knows it anyway, so,
exactly
yeah.
correct again.
If I can base it off of pop culture, chances are I know the year.
Yeah,
if I was alive.
you do have a bit of an advantage on that. Prison Brewing Company was started in 2009 by Rob DeMaria, a Philadelphia native who found artistic expression in making beer. Having studied film in his early college years, he always had an eye for seeing things differently. One day, he decided to try his hand at making his own beer. Of course, he couldn't allow himself to follow the recipe verbatim, so he got creative. That first beer would later turn into one of his summer favorites, a Belgian white ale brewed with chives. 2009, Prism Brewing Company was founded. All right, moving along. Nick's up first on this one, and this is our last one. This is your last chance to get a point. This is 6 Point Brewery. 6 Point Brewery was opened its doors The same year, Martha Stewart had the door of a probably posh prison cell slammed in her face. Massive quake spawned a tsunami on the other side of the world that killed over 100,000 people. And Janet Jackson had a wardrobe malfunction, and the long-running sitcom Friends came to an end. That same year, 6 Point Brewery opened. What year was that?
Dan, what would you say?
Yeah.
I'm going to go...
phone a friend. Dan.
Yeah. Let's go 08.
Go 08? Okay, 2008. Dan, what year would you say?
My gut reaction was 2001, so I'm going to stick with that.
You're going to go 2001. Ooh. Okay, that's a pretty big spread.
My way off. Jeez, Dan knows.
The thing that gets me is, the year Janet Jackson, that was that the Patriots?
It was
and
a
the
Super
Eagles?
Bowl, and
I don't
think it was Eagles.
It wasn't
I
the Pats and
no
Eagles?
idea.
No, because Eagles were, I think, 04 they made it.
I have no
and
idea.
just really messed up.
My gut was 2003, so I'm gonna say 2003.
2003. You are the closest. It was 2004.
Yes.
It was 2004.
Really? Friends was on till 04?
Yeah.
Friends was on till 04, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, apparently. Well, some
It
historical...
wasn't that good then.
Well,
I never
better.
really watched
I
it
must
at
have been
all.
thinking of a different tsunami. So.
Different tsunami, yeah. Yeah, that was 2004.
Yeah.
It was 2004. While some historical records indicate 6 Point Brewery was founded in 2004, the real birth of 6 Point begins at the dawn of civilization. That was when the earliest societies began cultivating cereal grains to make fermented beverages, and the desire for excellence in the craft of brewing was forged. Even during the earliest civilizations, rich iconography had adorned various brewing vessels, and pictographs depicting the craft of brewing were rife with symbolism. One symbol has transcended and survived to the ages, the 6 Point Brewer's Star, which is where the name of the brewery comes from. 6 Point Brewery, 2004. Okay, so let me, I think we know who won, but I'm going to add up the points anyway. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
9
I wonder
points.
who was shooting for double
And I
digits.
had 3
points. Steph had
or 2.
2, and Nick had 0.
Oh, shut out.
Okay. So Dan wins by a bit of a landslide. Dan with 9, Steph with 2, Nick with 0. Now, to be fair, this was kind of sneaky because this game was kind of less about beer and more about pop culture.
Sorry.
But, so it is what it is.
What I liked about it, though, is it made us at least all in the ballpark. Like,
Yeah.
sometimes when we play Years of Beers, we're off by, like centuries.
Yeah,
like
so,
2000 BC, 1986.
Yeah.
Somewhere
Yeah.
in between. But yeah, and I had the idea to do that, to do like the year that breweries were founded, but I thought it's kind of obscure if you don't like know for a reason that you know, like how are you gonna? So I thought the sort of pop culture news stuff would give you a little better idea, but apparently it gave Dan just a
That's all
right.
ridiculous.
That's
Good job,
right.
Dan.
But it did give us an excuse to talk about Star Trek for a
It
couple
did,
minutes.
that's true.
Bored.
And I didn't even get to point out that my cell phone case is Star Trek, and it cost me $4 on thinkgeek.com, which should be an advertisement, so if you want to pay me, please do. On that note.
Your beers. Know your beers. So at the airing of this episode, Thanksgiving will be just around the corner. And of course, everyone's going to buy their tofurkeys and getting their green bean casserole recipes ready. But
Turkey bacon.
Turducken.
the most important thing is, what beer am I going to drink with this delicious meal? And I have the solution for you.
Tröegs.
Perhaps.
I agree.
The perfect Thanksgiving beer, of course, is a Biere de Garde. A Biere de Garde is a fairly strong, malty-lagered artisanal farmhouse ale. According to Garrett Oliver, brewmaster of Brooklyn Brewery and author of The Brewmaster's Table, the Biere de Garde style is the perfect beer to complement the hearty Thanksgiving meal. The aroma of a Biere de Garde is prominently malty sweetness, often with a complex, light to moderate toasty character, and it often has a musty, woodsy, or cellar-like character as well. The appearance, there are 3 main variations that exist: the blonde, the amber, and the brown. No comments from the peanut gallery. Okay.
No, sorry.
So of course the
I'm just fascinated.
I'm just trying to figure out the cellar-like quality.
yeah.
Mustiness. That's interesting, actually.
Yeah.
You know I love those crazy
It's
beers.
weird,
so.
yeah, sort of flavors.
So, of course, the color can range, but they generally have a white to off-white head supported by high carbonation. The flavor you'll find with a Biere de Garde is medium to high malt flavor with a toasty, toffee-like, or caramel sweetness. Malt flavors and complexity tend to increase as the beer color darkens. Medium, low hop bitterness provides some support, but the balance is always tilted towards the malt. The finish is medium dry and malty, and the alcohol can provide some additional dryness in the finish. The mouthfeel is medium to medium full with a smooth, silky character with that moderate to high carbonation. So the history behind the Biere de Garde, the name literally means beer which has been kept or lagered. A traditional artisanal farmhouse
Beer
ale
I haven't drank.
Yeah.
from northern France, brewed in early spring and kept in cold cellars for consumption in warmer weather. It is now brewed year-round. Related to the Belgian Saison style, the main difference is that the Biere de Garde is rounder, richer, sweeter, malt-focused, and often has a cellar character and lacks the spicing and tartness of a Saison.
So it began as a sort of spring seasonal, if you will?
Yes.
But now it's...
Well, it was brewed in early spring. Not
spring.
to drink in early spring. And
But
then
it
it would be cellared so that when it warmed up, that's because it's a very crisp, very dry, very refreshing.
Oh, okay. Because I was imagining it would be like a fall or winter seasonal.
Yeah, no, it was more of a summer
Thanksgiving
beer, but
connection.
now it's brewed year-round. You can pretty much get it any time. A related style is the Biere de Mars, which is brewed in March, or Mars.
Beer from Mars?
Beers from Mars. For present use and will not age as well. New Belgium has a Biere de Mars, and they're part of their Lips of Faith series. So I researched some commercial examples, most of which I cannot pronounce. So instead, I decided to tell you the ones that I went out and purchased for our Thanksgiving dinner. I picked up a bottle of the Lost Abbey's Avant Garde, and I kind of cheated, and I picked up a Saison, the Brasserie, I can never pronounce that word.
Brasserie.
DuPont's Foray. I love their Saison, so I've never had the Foray, so I picked up a bottle of that. So a Biere de Garde is the perfect Thanksgiving beer because it can make any dish seem lighter. The herbal flavors in the beer pair nicely with herbal dishes like stuffing, while the caramelized malt pair perfectly with the caramelization of the brown turkey skin or tofurkey and gravy. And the beer can even make a dry turkey seem juicy. And the carbonation lifts everything so you don't realize you are eating so much. And there was a story I heard that Garrett Oliver told, and he actually said that he had letters from people that said things like, my mom hates beer and she will never drink beer, but I brought a Biere de Garde to Thanksgiving and she loved it. So I'm hoping to have a similar story, and hopefully my mother will enjoy the Biere de Garde with Thanksgiving dinner.
We'll decide to drink that instead of sangria.
No, probably Riesling would be her for Thanksgiving.
Her Thanksgiving drink.
Yeah, sangria would be more summertime picnic.
Interesting.
Food.
I just like the name, or the style, Biere de Garde.
Yeah, Dan and I have an aunt that always makes wassail.
Oh
Thanksgiving.
Yeah, we should
really
we should booze that up.
Well, you can. She usually puts out a bottle of rum that you can add to it.
Right.
Isn't that traditionally a Christmas thing, or am I just thinking that because of the Christmas
Carol?
Carol?
Know what it is? It is because I think there is a Christmas Carol. We go a wassailing or whatever.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking of.
But she always does it for Thanksgiving, and she makes it without alcohol so
Right.
that everybody can drink it. But she also usually has a bottle of rum there to add to it.
Yeah.
Our Christmas tradition, we usually, now our family, of course, is German backbone. We like to get the warmed, spiced wines, the German wines. We always do a shot of Jaeger, usually early in the night.
Yeah.
And then we end with a lot of, we did Anchor Christmas Ale I had last year. We had Mad Elf, usually the craft beer Christmas ales is usually what we spend the rest of the night
Did
with.
I miss the shot of Jaeger last year? Because I really don't remember that. Or is that just the Jaeger at work?
I don't know. We've done shots of Jaegers on Christmas Eve pretty many years now.
Yeah, I remember doing a shot with and Rich did one too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of the few times you'll see Rich.
You know what? That was the year that you were stuck in traffic. You were live tweeting the
on
traffic
No,
jam.
that was the beginning of this year. That was the night before we recorded the first episode, and I only remember that because it was warm enough to have the windows down.
I thought that was I don't.
I was watching Captain America on my iPad while I was at a dead stop.
I remember one time Rich and I have a past history of always going up to Boston for Thanksgiving weekend. Usually we have Thanksgiving at home with the family, and then Friday morning we drive to Boston because the Bruins always play an afternoon game. Now, of course, this year we're not because I'm going to Vermont. But the one year we decided, let's drive up on Thanksgiving Day. So we had Thanksgiving lunch with the family, and then we drove up in the evening. And when we got to New York, right before you go over the Tappan Zee Bridge, I watched the entire Transporter movie on my iPod, and we still hadn't made it across the bridge. We literally went like what should take 5 minutes.
You should have had a Biere de Garde with you. It would have made the time pass.
Like, we are never driving up on Thanksgiving Day ever again.
Well, because you have the parade on Thanksgiving.
Well, that's in the morning, and we watched that.
But it's got to be the residual fallout traffic from it.
But we were going the other way on the bridge towards Boston. You would think people, I don't know where people were
New
going.
York.
It was just being the holiday. I think a lot
holidays,
of people
yeah.
were traveling, but we did have a delicious Thanksgiving dinner at Legal Seafood, which was kind of special. So
Nice. Yeah. Usually at Tappan
But
Zee,
anyway.
that's the way to go. You bypass all that traffic.
yeah, that's why we always go up that way. We do our little secret. We say like 684, and we go around all this stuff to get into Connecticut.
Don't give your secret away.
Oh, sorry.
last time I went up to New York, it was me and Wayne, and my GPS took me some really weird way that was around like some truck depot that was there.
Yeah, we went through like an industrial area, and we could have sworn we were going in circles. It was right after we recorded the episode 12 with the Quinters.
Yeah.
We left right after that, went right up to New York that night. But yeah, we were driving around in circles in some weird, sort of kind of scary industrial area. We finally get into the city, and we realized we never paid a toll.
Yeah.
So it was just
They
getting
saved
us.
us a
It was
toll,
getting us around
but-
a
Do you have
toll,
your
but,
GPS set up to avoid tolls?
It was Siri. I never changed the setting on it. It was Siri.
She just knew.
She knew you were poor.
she
Well,
just knew.
to be honest, I kind of rather would have paid the toll than went that way, because the on-ramp to whatever sort of highway it took us back onto, we almost got in an accident because there was no actual on-ramp space.
Yeah, there was like no merging.
Yeah,
Wow.
it was bad.
Yeah.
But anyway.
But you're
Anyway.
here.
Yay, let's drink some
I
beer.
would just like to say that I feel like these are the smoothest segues I've done yet.
We're getting better. We are. What is this? 15.
Sounds pro to me.
All right, nice.
Cool.
Yay.
So now, Nick, you were kind enough to bring some beers with you. What do we have?
Yeah, what are we going to start with?
All right, so
Yeah.
I got 4 different beers here. I got Tröegs Doppelbock. That's the one that we spoke of before.
Right.
Big
Sweet
award
malty
winner.
German lager, 8.2%. I brought our Perpetual IPA,
Very good.
which is an Imperial Pale Ale. Little play on that IPA word.
Imperial.
But it's our number 1 selling beer for the brewery. It's been out for about a year. 7.5% alcohol. Real kind of West Coast piney flavored IPA. And then Dreamweaver Wheat, one of my favorites. German Hefeweizen, real spicy yeast, black pepper, clove, banana, about 4.8%. And then I brought one of our newest beers, which is Le Grave, which is we just got a brand new 350, 750 milliliter cork and cage line at the brewery. So we can now package kind of these Belgian style fancier bottles with a cork and cage on it.
Nice.
And that is a Belgian Golden Ale. So
Cool. Okay, so what do you recommend we start with?
let's see. What would you like to start with?
I'm thinking either the what was the Dreamweaver or the what
We
was
should
the last
probably
one?
start with the Dreamweaver.
I was thinking that
yeah.
one.
if
yeah.
we're gonna do this in correct tasting order.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what
I
I
was-
was thinking.
The only problem sometimes with the Dreamweaver, that German yeast that just sits on your tongue, but we'll be fine.
All right,
not?
sounds
Why
good.
not? With caution to the wind. Hey, a pizza just came in the room.
And so did Rich.
That's,
now we
that's
can-
just for Dan. You can have that.
Oh,
whole
all
thing.
right.
You can have that whole thing.
Now I feel like a fatty.
All right.
He's not gonna share.
All right, ladies first.
I like the
Thank
way
you.
that pours.
Yeah. So as you can see, as I pour this beer, it's an unfiltered beer. So obviously, a lot of that yeast will make it a little bit more of a cloudy, look to it.
Yeah.
Haziness,
And what I'll do is, as I'm pouring it out, kind of swirl the bottle around to get that yeast that's been sitting at the bottom to get it into the beer itself.
You get the clove and the banana right off the
Yep.
front. It's
Oh, yeah.
definitely a German. I'm not a huge fan of American wheat beers because they're missing that nice strong clove and banana flavor. And
Oh, yeah.
This is the way
Beer.
I want it to smell.
Oh, that smells really good.
Yeah. It's got a really nice cloudiness to it.
Mm-hmm. So one of the cool things that we have at the brewery that benefits this beer is our open fermentation.
Mm-hmm.
So we, in a lot of breweries, you don't see it, where you can actually watch the beer kind of overflow on the fermentation, the fermenters.
Mm-hmm.
Not fermentation, but you know what I meant. Yeah. But it's if you go there on a day when we're actually brewing the beer, that beer will be alive, and that the yeast that's going up, it's basically cascading over. It goes into a collection tank, and we're reusing that yeast strain over and over, which has really brought out the characteristics that we like about this beer, the clove, that more banana, kind of that spicier notes that comes with this Hefeweizen.
Yeah, it is really good. And it does have like you said, the banana and clove, but it does have a spice to it.
Right.
Yeah.
And a lot of people
really
wonder
sorts
if
of-
we actually put any of those ingredients in the beer. We don't
Don't.
put anything in. That's
No.
just all
That's
derivative
what
from
comes out
the
of the
yeast that we use.
Yeah.
And something cool about this beer that I do every year, we do a concoction called Mad Dreams. It started out just as something we did at the brewery to
Let's
kind
see
of
where
cut
this
the
is
edge
going.
of Mad Elf. Because that Belgian yeast strain kind of works well with this German yeast strain.
Uh-huh.
And, Mad Elf being 11% alcohol, that a few of those and
Yeah. You
Oh, we
feel
know.
it.
feel it. So I've been doing it for quite a few years, and we actually got a bunch of bars that are starting to do it more and more, what we call Mad Dreams. So it's a
really
little play
cool.
on
We
it.
will have to
So,
try that
Yeah,
this year
that
for
does sound
Christmas.
interesting.
Oh yeah.
I really like this. I think this was a good beer to start with.
This
I
is
think-
one I usually pick up a 6-pack of this every summer. It's just like my go-to sitting on the deck kind of beer.
Yeah.
I love wheat beers.
It cleans up nicely at the end. Yeah, it really does.
Yeah, and wheat beer has really been that I'd say one of the styles that has really kind of crossed over into people that don't normally drink craft beer. You know, a lot of people during the summertime will end up drinking a wheat beer. And we've seen a lot of growth just with this sales on this beer, but overall, you can't go to a bar without seeing, you know, hopefully Dreamweaver wheat, but like Allagash, White,
Yeah.
even the Blue Moons and Shock Tops. I mean, those, you know, for what they are,
Right,
it's
right.
still a path down the righteousness of
Yeah.
craft beer.
That
Right.
Allagash White, I had that at I forget where, somewhere in Philly. I didn't really like it that much as far as
Oh, really?
wheat would
I've
go.
never had it.
Oh, I love that.
Really?
I think it's a good beer. Yeah.
Maybe I just had a bad. I mean, the place that it was, I forget the name of it, but it was.
Don't say the place in case it was their beer lines.
No.
Maybe they had dirty beer lines.
could
I
be.
honestly forget where it was, but it was a crowded Saturday night, and I'm sure I was the only person that was ordering Allagash White. Everybody else was doing Miller Coors.
I used
But-
to go to this really crappy dive bar a lot way back in the days when I only drank Yingling Lager and nothing else, and Jack Daniels. And their tap system was so bad. It was so dirty and nasty, and their beer, and it was warm, like lukewarm, and it was just it was awful. It was awful.
It's a shame.
Yeah, it's never good when you go into a bar and I can taste those horrible flavors of
Yeah.
bad draft lines almost instantly in it.
Yeah.
You know, it's
really.
a real disservice. You know, we put a lot of work into producing the
Yeah,
beer.
absolutely.
You know, everything goes into it. We're, you know, not just us, every single brewery. Then to have it go with bad tap lines,
Yeah,
but
and all because
yeah.
they didn't clean their stuff right.
Right.
And I would say, you know, you're not finding that at all anymore.
Not
at least,
really.
At least in the craft beer bars.
Yeah,
those
any
guys
bar
are so
that's
dedicated to
Yeah.
you know, your good food, your good beer. You're not gonna
Yeah.
Yeah.
This
screw
place
it up
I-
at the last second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In this place, I remember they tried to be that craft bar, but they really weren't. They were just that mainstream, turned it into a club on a Saturday night. Really wish I could remember the name of it.
Right.
Now this is Troganator.
Troganator Doublebock.
All right.
I'll admit I cheated, and I had some of this a couple of weeks ago. I got a bottle of it, Total Wine.
It's not cheating. It's just keeping me employed.
Well, yeah. I mean,
exactly.
You were doing research
To
ahead
that's
of
right,
time.
research.
That's to be
Let's go with
encouraged.
that.
Oh, we
This
can
has
do this.
a-
Cheers, guys.
Oh,
cheers.
yeah,
come on.
cheers.
I can't reach.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
I'll go. Yeah.
all right.
Big table.
very-
Oh,
very
you've
rude.
brought a lot of
Cheers.
class.
Yeah.
You brought a lot of class to Beer Busters. That's the first time we've ever had an official toast. Yeah.
We need to start doing that. Actually,
like that.
I never thought of that
Yeah.
before. Thank you, Nick.
God.
We'll
Alright,
think
no-
of you
no
every
problem.
time
Yeah.
we toast now. This is a good beer.
Oh wow. Oh wow. I really
So
like that.
completely switching gears here.
Yeah.
And, you know, with the cool thing about the different beers I brought, you know, the different aspects of ingredients shine through all these beers. So with this beer, the malt is really coming
Yeah.
through.
Yep.
You get that real caramel.
Caramel.
Yeah,
is
it's
the
a
first
sweet
thing.
malt.
Yeah, the
Malty,
first
yeah.
thing I
Sweet.
noticed in the smell and even the taste was that caramel sweetness.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And this beer is deceiving. It's 8.2%, but you really can't taste
Oh wow.
Not at
that
all.
alcohol
You
whatsoever.
really can. It hides it well. It's a beautiful color too. I
Yeah.
really
Mhm.
like the sort of coppery, deep color to it. Very nice.
And a lot of stronger 8+% beers sometimes can be really in your face, and you have to drink it slow. Clearly, I'm not doing that. Neither are you.
I've already
finished
finished
already.
mine.
This is a surprisingly
You need more?
refreshing
Sure, why
and
not?
easy
There you go.
to
Won't
drink
argue.
beer.
Make it so.
so.
I'm getting a little bit of maple syrup too. The further down you go.
Yeah, you'll get that
Molasses,
sugar.
maybe?
It's more molasses,
Yeah.
that sweetness that you'll get from
Yeah.
those caramel malts and those roasted malts.
It's very nice. I really like this one.
Mm-hmm.
I might like this one a little bit more than the Belgian.
Yeah, it took a while
The
from.
wheat.
It's been a while since I drank this beer, and I came back to it just recently with the fall weather coming out. And sometimes you get stuck on a certain style of beer. Or, you know, I'm drinking IPAs all the time. And
Right, yeah.
Switch back to this, and it's great to kind of give your palate and your taste buds a little bit of a break from those hops that just rip them apart. But,
Yeah, they really do.
Yeah.
I like to say love punch you in the tongue.
yeah.
This is really good. I really like this.
All right, let me crack open a perpetual IPA then.
All right.
Speaking of hops,
There's a local pizza shop near here in Sinking Spring. Is it Friday nights? They have $3 Tröegs, and they have perpetual on a lot. So I can get a pint of perpetual for $3. It's
That's
awesome.
awesome.
oh, that's cool. Yeah.
Here, Paradise by the Slice, right?
Actually, it's Paulo's Pizza, but
Okay.
Paradise
I know
does
Paulo's.
have.
Thank you.
They have Tröegs on all the time. There's always a Tröegs beer on tap at Paradise.
I don't think I've been there yet.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
There you go.
I want a perfume that smells like this.
Oh wow. Yeah.
What is
Oh,
this
man.
dry hopped with?
There's a whole bunch of different hops, but Citra would be the predominant hop.
That's one we smell.
Which is kind of like the new craze with, a lot of breweries are doing Citra hops. And, with this beer, it's more West Coast style.
Yeah, piney.
It is very piney.
Yep.
Kind of resiny.
Mm-hmm.
What's the IBU on this?
Oh, let's see.
Oh, by
Let's
the
guess.
way,
Let's guess.
Cheers.
Cheers. Oh, I know we were going to keep doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Cheers.
I'll guess 80.
It's got to be up in the 80s,
75,
90s.
80.
yeah, I was gonna between 80 and 90 probably.
But it doesn't you get the hops, but it finishes dry and
It does.
you're ready for another sip.
It does, and and it's piney and resiny, but it's not sticky.
Yeah.
It's crisp and fresh. I like it.
Yeah, and this is one of those beers where we're utilizing our hop back. We're throwing a ton of hops in the boil, using our hop back vessel, which is basically like a big spaghetti strainer, for lack of a better description.
Yeah.
Where we're filtering over the hot wort over top to basically strip out a lot of those oils that you get from the hops itself, from whole flowered.
Right.
And then in the fermentation, we're dry hopping that quite a bit as well. So hops all around.
Yeah. So do you use a combination of whole flour and pellets?
We use whole flour in our hop back vessel, and then for everything else, we're using pellets. We probably use whole flour every now and then, or the other aspects, but for the most part, pellets.
Yeah.
I like the pale golden color of this. I'm usually not a fan color-wise of IPAs. I love the taste of IPAs, but I just like to look at darker amber beers. But this is a really nice color to it. I like it.
Pretty.
It is pretty.
I pulled up the Tröegs website. We are at 85 IBUs for this, apparently.
85.
Nice.
Okay. Okay.
Dan, getting another one right.
No, really. You're gonna add another point. I think that's 10
he
now.
cheated.
Yeah, I
Did I get to
know.
double digits finally?
He did have an iPad in front of the entire time as we were going through that.
And you can see
He also
that
has a
I was
MacBook next to it.
I was watching.
you can see the MacBook is just running the software for recording, and the iPad's just the
We're
soundboard.
just picking on
I
you.
know.
It's okay.
See, but now for anyone out there, it's like, oh, Dan's a cheater.
Dan is
No,
not a
I
cheater.
wasn't accusing you of anything.
Right.
But
Just drinking good beer.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
I'm guilty as charged.
Never mind. That's terrible.
But-
Lock you up.
Oh my.
Yeah, we could just maybe pause recording and we can just sit and drink this
I
for a
know.
while.
This is good. This is good.
Wow.
Yeah, like I said, this is one I drink this one all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I can see why.
Yeah, it's a great beer. I love IPAs, and it's clean.
You
That's
know,
one of
I
the things
was recently thinking I drink a lot of IPAs, and I started drinking craft beer by drinking IPAs, which I've mentioned before. But lately, I've been feeling, I'm kind of getting tired of it. I'm kind of getting tired of the hoppy beers, and I've been getting more into the wheats and the malty stuff. But this is just it's really clean. It doesn't kind of feel like it's the sort of where it's just kind of like strangling your palate, like hops. Like like you said, it finishes.
The double IPA is like the big thing right now, which
Yeah.
they're awesome.
They are
really,
great.
really
They
good.
are great, but
again,
there's a little bit
you
of
can't drink a lot of them.
overload, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. This is very
Palate fatigue.
There you
Palate
go.
of fatigue.
Yes.
It's also a balancing act too.
Yeah.
So
Mhm. Yeah, there
Right.
is sort of a contest. My beer's hoppier than your beer. My beer's bitterer than
But
your
after a while, you can't really perceive more of it. Isn't
Yeah.
the threshold
No,
like
it's-
one something?
We
somewhere-
did talk about that. We did.
Yeah, when you get up
a
in the
double,
hundreds
double
and-
IPA tasting, and they were all like 120 plus. We're like, do we even
You don't
notice
yeah,
it by then?
Not at that point.
no, it's simple. I mean, we put on Nugget Nectar. It says 93ish on,
Yeah.
on the label.
93
you get to a point where
it's just like it's bitter.
it's an arbitrary number that you're throwing out to kind of.
Yeah. For beer geeks, what's
Exactly.
the IBU?
Yeah.
I'm just all excited I remembered to ask that question.
Oh my.
All right.
Here we go. Open in the
If I can
cork.
get it open.
Let's see if we can
It's
get the
actually coming
pop.
out.
Wait for it.
There
Yay!
It didn't explode either. No.
That's a good thing too.
Yeah.
Yeah, no messes today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have said
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
I know. We knock on. Is there any part of this table wood?
I assume so.
Knock on
Oh,
felt.
this is
Not
what I've
on
been waiting
felt.
for.
There
I
you
have
go.
not had this
Oh,
yet.
look at that head.
And this is called again. I'm sorry, I forgot.
This is called Le Grave.
Le Grave. That's it.
So, like I mentioned, it's kind of hard pouring in these small cups. With this beer is it's extremely alive. So, I'll take the small one. I've had it before.
It is fitting that it's an Omegang glass for the Belgian beer.
Oh, that smell.
That's that Belgian yeast.
Oh. One of these days, I'll remember to have that clip of the Leonard Skinner song.
Oh,
Ooh,
that
that smell. One of these days.
Because that song is about Belgian yeast.
Yeah, totally.
It
That's
is
all I
now.
want is that like 2-second clip. That way we don't get sued.
Ooh.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers.
Yay.
Cheers. Oh, Dan's got a plastic glass, so it doesn't clinky as
I'm
well.
afraid I might break this one.
It's the
I know, it is really small.
It's like a thimble.
It is.
I'm slowly trying to change over all the plastic cups into glass ones. We're slowly getting
How do you
there.
do that?
Go to more beer fests
Alchemy.
and get more tasting glasses.
Alchemy. Yes, we're moving up in the world.
So, like I mentioned, this is our newest beer that we've actually packaged, put into our new bottling line. The beer itself is triple golden ale, so it's real Belgian-y, real spicy, kind of peppery flavor you're gonna get from the golden ale. This beer is 8.8% alcohol.
Whoa.
It's so that we actually
It's a little up there.
Good.
It's
This is
so
from my
good.
employee case that we got on Monday at our sales meeting. So I barely even drank this beer. Don't know much about it.
Right. It's very
It
good.
phenomenal
has
beer.
a sweetness there,
It-
and I
it
just
does.
can't find
Yeah.
the word I want to use to describe it. It's so
Awesome.
Awesome
Yeah,
would be a good
that
word.
works.
Yeah, it would be a good word.
Wow.
So this
It's
beer
kind of
itself,
creamy too.
this beer itself, it's going to be available at the brewery only for probably the next couple months. We're just going to just seeing how this beer actually bottle conditions, and then probably after the new year, we did release it to, I think, a select few accounts
Mary's
in the
has
Harrisburg Hershey.
good. Mary's in Reading has
Like they
it.
must have grabbed it at
They
the brewery.
they come to the brewery a lot.
But we'll start seeing it in the Philly area, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, and that in more of the Mid-Atlantic as we move into 2014.
Now, is it on tap at the brewery as well?
No, this is bottle only.
It's just bottle.
Are there any plans to tap it or?
No, we're going to do bottle only.
Yeah,
so
there's
this will be
something
our-
about conditioning it in the bottle that
our
gives it a
in-house
special.
Yeah.
We're working on a couple different projects with bigger bottles and smaller bottles that we're going to have basically on-premise consumption. We have a beer called Splinter Brown, which is one of our barrel-aged beers that's at the brewery right now. And one of the theories is you come to the brewery to try the beer itself as opposed to buying it at a store.
Yeah.
You get to see get the experience of trying
Yeah.
the beer. So
Now, is this going to be a beer that you're going to have year round, or is this just something special for now? Awesome.
it'll be a year-round beer. We're going to have this and also a chocolate raspberry stout.
What?
In the same size bottle that we're going to make year-round.
I'm in.
That sounds good.
And
So
when
really-
will that be out?
We're hoping right around like Valentine's Day.
Oh, perfect.
Makes sense.
Very romantical.
So I'll get Nugget Nectar in January, and then I can have the raspberry chocolate stout in February.
Yes.
I'll be going to Tröegs a lot in the new year.
Yeah. I hope my girlfriend doesn't mind. She can't have any gluten, so I have to go drink a beer. She'll have to drive. She can't drink beer, so.
Wah, wah.
We're gonna have to get used to Dan saying my girlfriend.
I know. It feels so good.
This is a new development.
This
Sorry.
is a
This
great
is really
beer.
good.
He's really happy over there.
He really is. Yeah. Well, I mean, you heard us talking about Star Trek earlier.
Yeah, no.
Girls are not something that we have a lot of success
Bored.
with. Yeah. No, I like this. I think this is similar to the first one, but a little more characterful.
Yeah, I completely agree with that because when I smelled it, I was like, oh, it's a typical Belgian. But when I tasted it,
Yeah,
it's
you
not
get
sweeter than the typical
You get a
one.
It
sweetie,
surprised me. It has a very
biscuity-
interesting, complex
Yeah.
flavor, and it's exciting. It's
And
good
this
stuff.
beer will develop as well. I mean, this is pretty fresh for this
Right.
beer. It's only been bottled maybe about 5 or 6 weeks.
Wow.
Okay.
So as this beer ages and it bottle conditions a little bit more, that
Maybe
beer,
the spice will come out a little more.
yeah, I mean it'll be obviously a little bit more carbonated.
Right.
So
Yeah.
Good
I
stuff.
like it. I really like it.
yeah, I dig it a lot. So it was our employee case, and I think I've drank 6 or 7 in the last couple of days just because it's something different.
I'm honored that you took one out of your employee case for us.
It's fine.
We feel special.
That's
Yeah.
well worth it.
Wow.
Very good.
Normally, at the end of the tasting, I ask if we can pick a favorite, but I don't know if
I have a
can.
favorite.
What's your favorite?
My favorite was Tröegs.
Okay.
My favorite is that all 4 of those beers have a place in my life. Like, no, seriously. Like, I can picture myself drinking each one
and
of
every
those
one of
at a
them
different
more
point.
than once. Not just like, oh, I'm going to try this. Okay, I tried it. I'm done. Yeah, all of these are very
These
good.
are and that's how the
I would come back
Tröegs
to.
library has been for me for a long time. It's always one of Tröegs and Victory. I think I say it all the time are my 2 favorite Pennsylvania breweries. And whenever I go to the store and I just want something I love and a standby, those are the 2 breweries I look for. So it's summertime. I'm going for Dreamweaver. If I want something hoppy, I'm going for Perpetual. Or if it's $3 pint night at Paulo's,
Right.
Tröegs, I'm usually looking more when it's cooler out, and I want something a little maltier. But now this new Belgian is
It's
in
very
my
good.
life.
Yeah, that was very good.
It's
yeah, I mean
delicious.
they were all really great beers.
That would
And
be
they
a
were all
good
beers.
that would be a good end of Thanksgiving meal. Start with the Biere de Garde, have your saison then, and finish with the triple golden ale. That would be the perfect Thanksgiving beer pairing. I
would
think.
probably just have this one all day.
Less decisions, easier.
Yeah,
Right?
Yeah.
I think
True.
that, to be honest, now that I think of it, this one is probably my favorite. Then, I mean, I've had the Troganator before. It's so good. I understand why it's won so many awards. Perpetual is a very good standby. Dreamweaver makes wheat. It just takes it to a whole different level. But then there's this.
And it's new. What's new is always exciting.
I
That's
know.
true.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
Are you guys? You might have already said this. Are you guys currently selling it at the brewery?
I think we just sold out the other day.
Okay.
We were selling it in single bottles and 4-packs. It's going to be available in cases as well once we actually ramp up the production of it. But I think right now it's only available just on-premise consumption. So if you go to the bar, you can order it, and they'll crack one open and pour it for you right there.
Cool.
Excellent.
So, do you have a favorite of these four?
I'm very biased. I like them all. But
It's like Sophie's choice.
yeah, Steph kind of nailed it on the head. Where I like these in all different circumstances of life. It's
Yeah.
right now my cup of tea is going to be this Le Grave just because it's brand new.
It's new and it's
exciting.
exciting.
It's a new thing. Yeah. Yeah.
Perpetual. I've put a hurting on some cases over the last year since that's been out. So
Yeah.
I like them all. I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't.
We won't make you decide.
I know.
We won't make you
It's a
decide.
tough
That's just
decision.
cruel.
Fair enough.
if you had to, if I had to choose one, I'd probably go Perpetual.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
I'm a hophead
Yeah,
at heart.
you know what? If there was one that they said put a gun to my head, you have to choose one that you have to drink over and over again, I would probably choose Perpetual also because I know I can't get Nugget Nectar year round, but Perpetual, it's like it's there. It's it's like the steady girlfriend you can count on her.
Yeah. Sort of on again, off again. Come back to rebound, booty call. Perpetual pale ale is my booty call.
That's not good.
No.
On that note,
On that note,
Now,
let's not forget.
Let's not forget that, of course, as always, these beers will be checked in on our Untapped account, where you can find us. We are just Beer Busters. Now, you can also follow us on Instagram and Twitter. We are at Beer Busters on both. And I saw your Twitter handle, Nick, and I really, really liked it. There's at Tröegs Beer for Tröegs, but there's also at Tröegsadelphia.
Correct.
Oh,
Which I
very
thought
cool.
was so cool.
Tröegsadelphia.
And you guys also have Facebook.com/Tröegs Brewing Co., right?
Correct.
All right. Are you guys on Untapped? I mean, I know people like check in. It's like, oh, Tröegs.
you can
So
like
as
the
a
you can like the
location.
brewery
I
on
think we do
Untapped.
Untapped. I don't know. I don't want
Okay.
anyone to see how many beers I really drink out there.
Yeah.
How many unique check-ins are you at,
I am not
Steph?
admitting that on air.
Can I give a roundabout number?
You'll know it anyway.
Well,
right?
yeah, that's true. I can look it up. A lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
A lot.
Do you guys do like Instagram? Have you...
Yeah, we just started Instagram. I think our guy Fed he just started Vine too. So we're working on
okay.
all those
So
different
you're-
Okay.
Getting
social
your hands
media
in all the
forums.
social
Yeah.
media.
Yes.
I just do Twitter. That's about it.
Okay.
Every now and then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for those who may not be aware, Tröegs is spelled Troegs.
Yes.
Yes.
And there's
Not
an oon out.
Trogs. No apostrophe S.
Right.
No
Right.
2 G's.
I'll admit I used to do it with an apostrophe S, but then I learned.
One of those little pet peeves. I see it
Yeah.
up on the board. And
Yeah, I could
Yeah.
imagine that would get like, that's not right.
I'm going to look for it every time I go somewhere. Now.
Yeah.
I see
Erase
Tröegs, like,
it.
there's
Worm
no
in your eye.
apostrophe there.
You'll just go and erase it.
Yeah. Well, what if it's
White out.
printed? Okay, there we go. You already knew. You already knew.
Sharpie if it's
Yes.
black
Few
background.
things worse than a misplaced apostrophe.
or a comma.
or a comma. Yeah. Steph likes commas.
Yeah.
I edit her blog posts. She
Yeah,
likes
yeah. I use a lot of commas.
do.
Wow. Well, as far as social media would go, we're also apparently on MySpace. So if you happen to find yourself in 2005, look us up.
You
I
have
don't
a
know.
flux
That's
capacitor.
going to end soon. I
Yeah.
don't think anyone uses
There's nothing
MySpace
going
anymore.
on our MySpace.
I'm glad you
There's
said
nothing
flux
going on.
capacitor because
Exactly.
I'm just excited I get to do that now.
Wait, can I throw toilet paper now?
What?
Rocky Horror, Great Scott for the toilet paper?
Paper.
No.
Oh, sorry.
Yep.
Wah, wah.
It's been forever since I've seen that. We're on Google Plus, which now we have the vanity URL as it's called, which is plus.google.com/plus Beerbusters podcast.
And that's plus like the plus sign, like plus the word .google.com/plus the sign Beerbusters.
This is
podcast.
why nobody uses
Just go to our
I know.
website.
except for us.
I hate to say it, but Google Plus is disappointing.
It had so much potential.
Yeah. But
So
anyway,
much.
but we're on there. You can search for us.
Yes, if you want to reach out to us on there. There's also facebook.com/BeerBustersPodcast. And, of course, BeerBustersPodcast.com, where you can find our awesome blog. You can backdate some episodes. You can buy Beer Busters swag.
Our brand new swag shop. T-shirts, hats, buttons, stickers. Steph is wearing another one of our T-shirts today. She was wearing one last episode as well.
Yeah.
Brand new T-shirts. Yeah, check it out. We're also going to have drinking accoutrement up there soon. Beer steins, beer coasters. What do you call the little beer can cozies? Yeah,
there you go.
They would make great Christmas gifts.
All sorts of super awesome things that you can buy for your beer-loving friends for Christmas or for yourself.
But you know what we have on there that's free besides everything else?
What's that?
The newsletter.
Oh, the
You can sign up for the newsletter.
You can also sign up for the Beer Busters Podcast newsletter. That's right. You go to our website. You'll find it there. You can sign up right on our Facebook page. I mean, if you want to find it, you'll find it. I don't need to tell you where to go.
And people that sign up for our newsletters will get access to exclusive cuts from the show.
That's right.
And we have some hilarious ones.
Which means more production work for me.
That's right.
And some embarrassing ones.
Sign up for our newsletter, get exclusive content, updates on everything, and,
Yeah.
all you could ever want to
Commercial over now?
know.
Yeah,
Okay.
pretty much.
End promo.
Yes. But that does unfortunately bring us to the end of another episode of Beer Busters Podcast. And it's someone by the name of Clementine Paddleford who said, and apparently she's Danish, beer is the Danish national drink and the Danish national weakness is another beer. I would like to think that applies to America as well. I would, of course, like to extend many, many, many thanks to Nick for joining us today. Thank you for coming out today.
Thanks for having me.
And thanks for bringing the new beer, too, among the other beers. As always, my name is Dan Baker, joined by my co-host and brewologist,
Steph Hefner.
and our from entertainer.
Wayne Baker.
Until next time, my friends, we bid you adieu.